Here with reaction, 2 former press secretaries. By the way, that is a job that, frankly, you couldn't pay me $100 million a day to do. Kayleigh McEnany, also co-host of Outnumbered, and Fox News contributor Ari Fleischer. Ari, both of you had the hardest job ever. Am I being too harsh in my grading? I'll let you correct me if you think I'm wrong.
Well, first off, Kayleigh and I didn't get paid that amount of money either.
I'm very aware.
Sean, your grades are right on target. You know, if you remember, there was a former defense secretary, Robert Gates. He worked for Barack Obama and therefore for Joe Biden. And he wrote in his book that Joe Biden's been wrong about every major foreign policy issue of the last 30 years. And I think watching Joe Biden in these 6 months, you know that's true. But you can extend it now to domestic policy. He's misinterpreted his mandate. He doesn't have a mandate, but he thinks he's FDR Jr., licensed to go on a massive trillion-dollar spending spree. And he's not. That was not what the 2020 election was about. And he's out of sync with where the American people are.
You know, Kayleigh, I actually said to a mutual friend of ours, Dan Scavino, after the election at some point, I said, you might want to go out and patent Donald Trump, hashtag miss me yet, hashtag 2024. Because I think 6 months in, this is a dramatically different country.
Yeah, Dan should have taken.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Dan should have taken you up on that, Sean. I mean, you're exactly right. You know, I was with Secretary Pompeo earlier today here at Turning Point, and we were talking about some issues, you know, one by one. You look at the COVID lab leak, you know, that we knew in the Trump administration, that was the most obvious source. But here you had Biden shutting down the investigation, even though Secretary Pompeo in the Trump administration warned him, you know, giving a huge just pass to China. It did originate in the lab. At least every sign points towards that. You move on over to immigration. The images on the border today, Sean, were galling. The biggest group that Fox News had ever seen arriving on our southern border. Get this, as Biden considers rolling back another Trump policy, Title 42, which keeps families out because of COVID health concerns. So he rolls that back. You're going to see even more and more and more on our border. And those are just 2 issues of many. Your grades were spot on. Instead of 3 Fs, I had an F- on my sheet. But hey, I'll take the 3 Fs just as much as the F-.
I thought 3 Fs for one topic was pretty big. All right, so the media, though, Ari Fleischer, they're complicit here. I called it the candidate protection program. Now it's the presidential protection program. They don't show Joe's cognitive struggles. They're not talking about we lost energy independence. They're not showing the kids in cages in the middle of a pandemic sleeping on top of each other down at the border. They're not reporting what China and Russia and Iran are doing. They give Joe a pass on everything. The same people that, you know, if Donald Trump said one bad thing in a tweet, lost their minds.
So what the American people need to realize is the media bias, which used to be a liberal bias, and it still is a liberal bias, but they have now gotten in such a habit. They did it to Donald Trump and his staff. Now they're going to do it to all Republicans. They overtly take sides. Sometimes they do it directly, and sometimes they do it by omission. But the fact that they haven't played a lot of those clips, some of those clips, Sean, just stop you in your feet and just say, what is going on? Is he okay? People do need to see that. And you know, if that was George Bush, if that was John McCain, if that was Mitt Romney, let alone Donald Trump, the media would be pounding them for it. They'd be showing it all the time. They protect. They take sides, they protect, and it's not the Republican side they protect.
Can you imagine, Kayleigh, if this was Donald Trump's record or Donald Trump was struggling cognitively like this? What would it be like?
I can't imagine. I mean, look, I was at the podium when I was asked over and over again about his trips to Walter Reed, and they were routine visits that he took, but they were convinced something sinister, something must have been wrong with the president. He must have been covering something up. They don't ask those questions in the briefing room, nor do they ask really important questions like, hey, why did it take 4 days to denounce communism? You have Peter Doocy saying, you know, will you denounce communism? Where's the roaring, loud press corps behind Peter Doocy demanding an answer on that, on censorship, partnering with Facebook to censor everyday Americans? We keep hearing about these 12 Americans who give misinformation. Well, why does the government have a list of these 12 Americans? You don't have the press corps. You don't have the shouted questions because they simply do not care. Ari is right. They take sides.
All right, Kayleigh McEnany, Ari Fleischer, thank you both. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.